My name is Samuel Kibashia. I work for Royal Media Services, which is a media house in Kenya. Royal Media Services is a media house with 3 TV stations and 13 radio stations, a VOD platform, a news digital platform, and a couple of other brands within our group. We started off with having a Linux-based firewall, access points that were not security ready. So over time, we took up a unified threat management approach to our security. And so we started off with having Sophos at the wireless point, Sophos at the endpoint, Sophos at the firewall, and finally, we now combined everything with MDR. So one of the challenges we've encountered along the way is that security is not something you install and then your organization becomes secure. So security requires constant monitoring. It requires you to continuously see what is happening, continuously meet new challenges, and be able to adapt as threats change. About 10 years ago, ransomware was not a very common thing. About 5 years ago, ransomware was a main thing. Right now, threats have changed. It's not ransomware anymore, it's AI-generated threats. As the organization continued to grow, we got more and more services that were now seated on the cloud. So what we did was we added on Sophos services onto the cloud. So we protect our instances also on the cloud. And all of that information comes together on Sophos Central. Now on Sophos Central, we are able to have clear visibility of any service or any application that we have. And in the event that there is any threat, we are able to have a 360 view of where the threat came from, how it went, any other services that may be affected, including remediation. Citizen is the biggest TV station in Kenya. And our radio stations are the biggest radio stations in Kenya. So we find ourselves in a situation where if something is broadcast that is not true on one of our platforms, it's almost taken like Bible truth. So that forms a very serious security threat for us. We need to ensure that anything we put out is what was supposed to be put out. And because of the visibility of our brand, the brand reputation is very high. So we needed to have a scenario where we ensure that we protect the brand by ensuring that the security of everything under the brand is well maintained. To be able to achieve that, so we ended up moving from cloud, now we went to now having MDR. So the reason why we decided to have MDR as part of the suite was that we realized that there are new threats and more threats coming up every single day. So we might have all the tools in place to protect ourselves, but the threats that come up are new and different almost every other day. We understood that MDR is the way to go for the future. See, if we even built a SOC internally, the SOC would be very focused on the threats that are affecting our organization. But because we have MDR, we have a global organization that is focused on our organization's security. So threats, even if they come up from other countries, by the time they reach our shores in Kenya, somebody has already seen them, they've already understood them, and they've already actioned them. So that's why we ended up choosing Sophos MDR. We had tried an outsourced SOC before we went with Sophos MDR. But one of the biggest advantages we got from Sophos MDR was that they are always there for us. They are viewing and reporting on threats that we have not even identified as an organization. They are a 24/7 service, and beyond that, they are able to work with us to remediate in the event that there is any threat or any penetration. Sophos goes beyond. It goes beyond a SOC. They become a partner. So they become one with you, wanting to help your organization to grow and be able to achieve your goals. A couple of months ago, I think about a year ago, one of our users was, their account was compromised. And in this day and age, everybody likes to store their credentials on Chrome. So their account was compromised and their credentials were leaked online. So the first thing we did was to provide these users' credentials, and Sophos were able to go in through the dark web and look for anywhere where his credentials had been leaked. They found the credentials and were able to remediate together with them, and were able to ensure that the users' credentials were not left on the dark web. One of the reasons why we actually went with Sophos endpoint protection was because they have an inbuilt anti-ransomware engine. So previously, before we went with Intercept X, we had a ransomware attack on one of our users' computers, and despite the fact that that computer had an antivirus, it was still ransomed. Of course, we were able to remediate that, but the anti-ransom engine that is on Intercept X ensures that any files that are encrypted are decrypted. So we've not had a ransomware threat since we started working with them. But as I said earlier, we had a credential leak issue, and they helped us discover any credentials that were leaked in relation to that user, and were able to remediate for that user. Sophos are our primary security team. So the MDR team are the ones who maintain our security and ensure that our services are secure. So in the event that we have a threat, our team actions on the advice that is provided by the Sophos team, and in turn, we are able to remediate any issues that we may find. We also have quarterly reviews where, so at the beginning of the onboarding process, we do a monthly review where we check any threats that may be there or any actions that we may need to take immediately. And on a quarterly basis, we actually check in and confirm that there are no major threats that are there. If I look at our landscape, we have resolved Wi-Fi connectivity, we have resolved firewall, that is endpoint, we've resolved perimeter, sorry, that is firewall, and then Intercept X for the endpoint, and we've also resolved our branches. So the next step is security of our switches and the core switches. So that's the next area where it is important to have now full visibility of your entire network and the entire network of users. As we move services to the cloud, it's important to note that Sophos has already moved with us. So we are able to have monitoring as well as secure the instances that sit on the cloud, and all of our logs sit in one place, and even those ones are covered under the MDR service.